Topical and atypical. Unfiltered and independent. 100% authentic and intelligent.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Goo woo woo woo. Goo woo 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 woo. Good morning. Yeah. Good morning. Where's everybody watching from? Where's everybody watching from? Tell me where you at. Tell me where you are. Everybody, good morning. This is Views from Amanda Land. I am your host, your favorite artistic intellectual, Amanda Seales. Yay! How are we doing, everybody? We are here every morning, Monday through Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern. And so happy to always have you all here. I'm saying always like we've been doing this a long time. We have not been doing this a long time. But remember to set your calendars. Also, if you don't have a subscription to my newsletter, I want to remind you to do that because that is a great way for you to keep up with the different things I've got going on. You know, I'm fully independent now. And so because of my full independence, I got to have multiple streams of income and multiple avenues of creativity in order to stay sane. And so if you want to be tapped in to those avenues of creativity, then you're going to want to subscribe to my newsletter, which is free. Okay, just go to AmandaSealesTV.com, which is free. And if you want to be on like a whole other level of that, then you can also subscribe to my Patreon. We'll talk a little bit more about that. So every morning I have to remind you of some basic things that we got going on here. One, please, if it's during the show and you're like, I feel so compelled to support, hit us with a super. A super is within YouTube and it allows you to basically tip the person who's doing the work. And I'm here doing the work. Also, need you to watch for at least 20 minutes. I looked at my average watch time yesterday and it was 13 minutes. Too low. We got to get that up. We got to get that up. All right. So let's get that to 20 minutes. Also want to remind you, hit us with a replay. Okay. Hit us with a replay. Please replay the episode. I mean, honestly, like you don't have to like actually watch it. But if you are like, you know what can I do right now to like be supportive? You can literally just like put it on, like have it on and you don't even have to listen to the sound. But this helps the algorithm push what we're doing over here. Also want to remind you that if you like what I'm saying, you know what, just drop a seal in the chat. Find the seal emoji, drop it in the chat. Get it? Amanda Seales. Yeah. So let's see where you guys watching from. We got people watching from New York, Berlin. Oh my gosh. Guten Tag. Thank you, Heather. So I was literally saying to myself, like, I'm long overdue to have my own lipstick. I'm just long overdue. To have my own lipstick, and I feel like I should do a collabo with the lip bar. So let's hit up Melissa and get that cracking. Who else do we got going on here? We got folks in NorCal. Shout out to NorCal. Elise, Connie Wun, Dr. Connie Wun is joining us later today, and she is from NorCal. We also got Southern California, so we got California in the building. Shout to Nasra repping in Brooklyn. Nasra always giving us the greatest of insights and additions. She's also a part of the SEAL Squad on Patreon, and when we have our small doses bonus episodes every Sunday night at 7:30 Eastern, Nasra be up in there just getting us together with the facts, okay? Getting us together with the facts. So shout out to Nasra. Shout out to the NOLA. I know, actually, you know what? New Orleansians don't like when you say NOLA, so I take that back. I take that back. Shout out to Erica in Corona. We got Quentin in New York. We got Union City, California. So we got California and New York. We've got the Netherlands. We got the Netherlands. Shout out to Seattle. I love Seattle. We got Chicago, Baltimore, Newark, Lake Worth, Florida, Euclid, Ohio, Tampa, Florida. I'm actually going to be talking about Dochi later today, who is a Tampa native. Westchester County, New York. I see you, Westchester. I went to SUNY Purchase. We got Zurich, Switzerland. I just love when we are global, y'all. And we are hitting like all corners of the United States, okay? Because here we have Miami and Miami. Jenny and Summer. Jenny, you need to shop over by Summer Styles Boutique, okay? We got Tejas. We got DC. Shout out to DC. We got Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, Portland, and Buenos Dias from the LBC. So we're in here. And of course, shout out to Harlem. Shout out to Orlando. We have another international. Malmo, Sweden. I don't know if you all know this, but I can count to 10 in Swedish. Let's hit it. Ett, två, tre, fyra, fem, sex, sju, åtta, nio, tio. Yeah. Shout out to the D. And we got Perth, Australia. Good day, mate. I haven't watched Crocodile Dundee in a long time. I really should probably get into that. I'd really probably should get into that. I'm doing a rewatch of old movies that I really enjoyed. So shout out to everybody who's joining us. If you are over here on Instagram, quit playing with me and come on over here to YouTube and join us at AmandaSealesTV. Hit that live tab and join us at AmandaSealesTV. Shout out to Kimmy out there in LA. We're going to be talking about Kenyan country music today. So I decided I would carry my Kenya cup today. So shout out to the Maasai of Kenya. All right, so we have guests today. We have Marc Lamont Hill. Dr. Marc Lamont Hill is going to join us. He's going to tap in at some point during 60-second headlines and, just give us his 2 cents. And then we're going to get into, what's it called? What else we got going on? After 60-second headlines, we're going to get into a new segment. So I used to do a segment on my show, The Amanda Seales Show, called For the Record. And it was like an interview segment. But instead, For the Record is now going to be a segment where I talk to you about music that I'm rocking to and music that I'm not rocking to. So get it for the record. Ooh, do I have a troll? Somebody said I have a troll. How do I make a moderator? Because I'm going to make Kimmy the moderator. Kim, do you want to be the moderator? I'm making you the moderator. How do I make a moderator, y'all? Does anyone know? Somebody tell me. I don't know. Oh, this person, Truth Hurts. Screw Marc Lamont Hill. Aww. Womp, womp. Hold on, let me hit him with a... Yeah, that sucks. All right, well, they're out of here. So, also want to let you all know that every week I will be doing stories that are also like just specifically for the Patreon click, and those specifically for the Patreon click. And so those stories this week are going to be here we go. They're going to be the mystery drones and Donald Trump making Herschel Walker the ambassador to Bahamas. Yes. So you're going to have to be a member of the SEAL Squad to get my thoughts on those stories. So you can go to patreon.com/AmandaSeals, patreon.com/AmandaSeals. But yeah, if you want to hear my takes on those SEAL Squad stories, that's what you're going to have to do. Lord have mercy. Okay. That's what you're going to have to do. All right. Let's get into it, man. Let's get into our 60-second headlines. I will, of course, have theme music for all of these within the next 2 weeks. Okay. Like, y'all know I don't play around. All right. So let's get into our 60-second headlines. You know, there's a lot to be said. There's a lot going on in the world all the time. But I feel like here in the United States, it just seems like we always have ridiculous stuff going on. But I'm really happy to see that there are always folks that are not for play. Okay. There are always folks that are not for play. So right now we've got the Amazon folks who are basically like, listen, we're not playing with y'all and we are 1000% ready to go to, why is this not going on the screen? Okay. Sorry. So Amazon warehouse workers at 3 Amazon facilities, so let me just take a moment for the troll so that she can feel seen. So this is Nicola 369 Sekhmet or whatever. She said, Marc Lamont Hill is a lamestream reject. And so are you. Neither of you do the real work. Don't play with me. We will flood this matrix. The funny thing about all of this is that I'm sure this is a Black woman. And my literal PSA later in the show is about how Black women come for me more than anybody else in the most disgusting of ways. Like it ain't these racist folks that be coming at me. Because I don't even care. The Zionists, they tried to ruin my life. But it's the Black women that blow my mind because the vehemence with which they choose not to hear what the hell I'm saying is always beyond me. No, you did say me. Don't come now. Don't throw your rocks and hide your hand. Don't do that, Nicola. Don't play that game with me. You just sat up here and said, neither of you do the real work. And now you want to throw rocks and hide your hand. Don't play with me up on this internet. I show up every goddamn day, and I have in my entire life. In my entire life, I've been showing up. And it's like these people who have been emboldened by the anonymity of the internet to exercise their misery. If you were showing up, if you were doing the real work, you wouldn't be up here with no picture and a fake name trying to talk about people who be out here losing their entire livelihoods standing for stuff. And I would have said SHI, but I don't want to lose my YouTube ability to get what I deserve for my money. So Nicola, I wish you would really honestly just focus on yourself. You literally have no idea what Marc Lamont Hill does if you think Marc Lamont Hill does no real work. So I wish you the best. And I hope that you, instead of expending your energy on individuals that you don't know, actually focus on knowing yourself better. Okay, now let's get back to what we were talking about. Amazon. Yes, people, the Amazon folks is not playing with y'all. I know it's the holidays and they know it's the holidays. So this is why it's a big deal. Workers at 3 Amazon facilities have authorized a strike, setting up a potential work stoppage at the height of the holiday season at warehouses in New York, Chicago, and Atlanta. The Teamsters Union says Amazon had filed to come. Oh, actually, look who's here. Someone was talking mess about you just now.
Oh, I know. I've been saying for a few. I was listening to it. I was listening to the want sound. I can't wait for all of that. It's haters, man. It's haters out here.
Well, just for the record, since she was saying that you don't do any work, do you want to just tell people? Just want to just clarify?
You know, I decided that I no longer want to do that. If I'm outside, you know what I mean. I'm a lot of places doing the best I can with what I got. So if people feel like that's not good enough, that's for them. If they don't know what I do, then they can Google. I mean, it's not that hard to find out what I do in the world.
Google me. You better tell them. They can Google me.
And
Man.
like lamestream, it's also so weird to hear people on the one hand talk about doing real work, and on the other hand criticize somebody for not being part of the lamestream media. Like, which one do you want? Like, do you want me on CNN or do you want me doing the real work? Like, what are you talking about?
Listen, I saw a headline today on it because YouTube will show you like videos with your name in it, and you'd be like, "Don't show me that." And someone was like, someone had a video that said, Amanda Seales, show business don't want you. I don't. I don't want show business. So much so that I literally left.
Like, that's the point. I saw one about you 2 days ago.
I wanted to leave so bad that my house isn't even sold.
Yo, you dead ass was like, I'm out. You called me. You was like, yo, I'm out. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm out. I saw a video like 2 days ago where somebody was saying it was like the end of your career. And I was like, you're an idiot. I watched the whole video, which made me angry. You know, I was in the comments too. I left the comment. I was like,
Kermit.
Yeah. Fucking kidding me?
This is the end of my career?
Yeah. You ended your whole career. And I'm like, are you like, and it's always the person with like seven YouTube views. And I'm not trying to like, I don't judge people how many views they get. It's just the arrogance and the like high horse from which they like have so much to say about people's careers and people's lives and people's choices. And they speak with such authority about things that they weren't there for.
That's my favorite.
Yo.
That's my favorite.
Into the Radio 1 offices and told them and was talking. And what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I'm never get myself angry this morning.
They really said that?
They said you were talking to the Radio 1 people like they were third graders. Don't even. I was like, I saw this comment. I was like, because I know you, I know the Radio 1 people, I know like nope. And this was they were saying you did that at the beginning of the journey there. Like that's how you got there. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's not what happened. Radio 1 was calling me. People was so just calling me like, yo, like she's great. We love her. We want more like her.
Listen, I don't know what phase of humanity we're in, and I don't know if this is part of why I want to go back to school, because I'm like, was there a version of this in other times? Like we have like the Coliseum and the Gladiator stuff, but like, was there a version of trolls? You know,
there had to be. There had to be. I don't know the answer, but I know there had to be. We can't be the first iteration of civilization that's
I mean, I feel like there were actual trolls at one time. So, and then it just like devolved into the human form. But so we were talking about, so this is 60-second headlines, and we were talking about so for the record, I told Mark that we were going to talk about something completely different, but I also told Mark that I was absolutely going to change my mind before today. So he's fully aware that anything could happen. But we were talking about Amazon authorizing a strike at 3. So the Teamsters Union says Amazon had failed to come to the bargaining table by a deadline of December 15th. Amazon workers at a Staten Island warehouse here in New York are the first ever to win a union election, but they still don't have a bargaining agreement. They still don't have a collective bargaining agreement. But basically, they have decided that they are going to strike 3 main Amazon warehouses. They're striking for Christmas.
Well, people are going to be furious. I mean, I'm talking about you're including me. I mean, I'm not furious, but I will feel the pain of it. At the same time, I'm glad that people are finally starting to organize, man. You know, there are a few places more exploitative than Amazon. And that's saying a lot in America. There are few places more exploitative. And and the problem is because we just love getting our package 5 minutes after we order it. You know, we love all the stuff that comes with it. As a bookstore owner, I hate it. But like what they basically do is destroy businesses, exploit labor, and make all the money. And they were willing to not turn a profit for a decade just to be able to do this. I mean, it's amazing. So when I see the workers organize, I just want everybody out there to accept that, yeah, you're going to be a little frustrated. And yeah, you're not going to get a package for, or whatever the thing might be, but to not let that frustration make you think that the workers are wrong, right? That these people need to survive, and we'll all be better off when we all have access to living wages.
It's similar to me, like when people get frustrated when protesters are like slowing up their morning commute commute or if they like prevent them from catching a flight. And it's like, this is literally the response to something. This is not, folks, this is not like we lost a football game and we're messing up your life. This is, we have to cause disruption to disrupt the thing that is actually the bigger problem.
Right.
And
that's
so
the thing. That's it. No, that's it. We want to and the bigger problem is probably messing your life up too. That's the thing that people don't get.
It is. Yeah. It's just that folks would rather kind of pretend that it's not really happening in that way, but it is happening in that way, in a very real way. So shout out to the warehouses in New York, Chicago, and Atlanta that are doing this. I know that the one in New York is the monster. The Staten Island warehouse is the monster. That's the one where Chris Smalls had done. That's where they first unionized. And that's the one that is like, you know, all of us not getting our packages. So,
right.
So that's the one you should be like, yikes.
That's what I'm scared of now.
Okay, so let's talk about this real quick.
Billions. Well, there is talk about the Postal Service being taken private. You do know that. Not the worst idea I've ever heard. It really isn't. You know, it's a lot different today with between Amazon and UPS and FedEx and all the things that you didn't have. But there is talk about that. It's an idea that a lot of people have liked for a long time. We're looking at it. I think we're looking at that along with a lot of us.
Now, this actually connects a little bit to Amazon because like someone here in the comments just said, well, they're doing exactly what they want them to do. They're going to replace them with robots. And I can see the post office getting replaced with like the non-person driving cars.
Yeah.
But they would have to do this in order to do it.
Yeah.
He's been talking about major cuts to the I didn't realize that actually most of the post office mostly gets its money privately. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation. The post office is somewhat fascinating. And again, I know we have complained about the post office. You know, and legitimate ones. Like there's like one teller for like 17 people in line, and you know, there was the whole cultural narrative of people going postal because there was this idea that maybe people weren't all the way stable in the post office because of a few shootings.
The mail never stops. It never stops. It keeps going.
But like, I need people to understand a couple of things. One, having an actual postal service that is government run is kind of what helps keep the world connected. When that's how I'm able to put a stamp on an envelope and send it to Djibouti and know that when it gets to Djibouti, that it'll get its house.
Why Djibouti?
Because I'm a child.
Because you're a child. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No other reason.
Djibouti. He could have said anywhere in the world, but he just wanted to say Djibouti. And because people in here understand, look, Kristen E said, "Who's talking about my booty?"
I have a funny response to that, but so, but like there's a sense of trust, and there's a taxation system, there's a financial system that comes, which is how we know that the mail is going to get from one place to the other. I mean, it's part of the global order. I'm not saying we couldn't have it without that, but a functional government post office is kind of the only way we can ensure that certain things happen. It's how my letters get to Palestine, in fact, right? Is because
which makes sense as to why though they would be in the way. They're like, we gotta because this person here, Logan 3656 said going after mail-in votes. Didn't even think of that.
I didn't think about that either, but yeah, it's another piece of it. I understand that the what we call neoliberalism is an ideology and a system that is going to undermine the well-being of a lot of everyday people. When we say neoliberalism, we're talking about the market and basically making everything open to the market. Everything becomes privatized when you have neoliberalism. Everything is about efficiency, which doesn't sound bad, except everything can't be efficient. Efficient means you have to cut people. Like sometimes you got like efficiency is why you don't why you have all easy pass and no toll booth operators, which seems cool when you're driving down 95. Doesn't seem cool when your auntie doesn't have a job anymore. These are all things that we see. Neoliberalism is about de-skilling. So what you do, you automate and you do things so that the labor that people do is no longer skilled labor. And when it's de-skilled, then all of a sudden you don't have to pay them as much. So you see that on the assembly line where suddenly I don't have to know how to build a car. I just know how to stand in this one spot and push this one button. Or like on Roseanne when they were all on the line back in the Clooney days. Like that's what they were doing. They were showing you what de-skilled labor looks like. And they also do it to teachers, right? When they try and give teachers scripts and manuals and curriculum that's already designed and pre-written, you're de-skilling. When you de-skill the labor force, you exploit the labor force further. So all of this is what's happening. And what better way to de-skill than through technology? Because everybody likes technology. Everybody's like, well, shit, if I can get this faster, cheaper, etc., then I'll be okay. But as Sonia's saying, like, at what expense?
That's why you came on the show. That's why my friends are smart. Apparently they in the lamestream media, but they smart. I don't know if you noticed that someone said, it's not your beauty, it's your booty.
I can't see the comments, but that's funny.
No, you were saying something very serious and I had posted it up. How much longer do we have with you? Do we have 3 minutes?
Yeah, I can do about 5. My show start. Although I was rejected from mainstream media, I'm here at my weekly show on Al Jazeera up front, my international show, and we start in about 25 minutes. So I got to get to makeup, but other than that, I'll be good.
You have to get to makeup?
I do. I'm a bad bitch.
I remember one time I was doing MTV. And I was about to interview LL Cool J. And this when I was a host on MTV too. And I was just like on set waiting. I was like, he's been here. So like, what's going on? And they were like, he's getting makeup. And I said, oh, he's in makeup? Like that, I'm waiting for LL because he's in makeup? And they were like, yeah. And then I remembered that the dressing rooms don't have ceilings, and so he could hear my whole conversation.
Did he say something?
Yes, he came out and he promptly licked his lips and was like, I just had to get right for the camera. I was like, true.
I man.
All right, y'all. So actually, I'll come back to this because I had a real question for you. Marc Lamont Hill, would you go to London from New York via train in a train made by Elon Musk?
Whew. Y'all not gonna like my answer. Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I would want
the way Cybertrucks be falling apart.
Them things look wild. See, I thought they were asking an ethical question. If you're asking a tech question.
Because he's saying that that his company can build the groundbreaking $20 billion tunnel in less time than everybody else. That's what he's saying.
Okay, that's a different question. Then I understood it. That's a no, I wouldn't. I thought they were just saying, would you use a product that was supported by somebody or created by Elon Musk? I'm like, well, every billionaire is awful. If we didn't support products created by monsters, we wouldn't be able to do anything. That's where I was going. But in terms of the tech stuff, them self-driving cars scare me. The high-end Teslas scare me. The really ugly one that looks like a transformer thing. I see those on the street.
Oh yeah.
And the reason why they haven't done the super fast trains is that what you just talked about. And I don't want to be on the business end of his mistakes. Like especially when you start going over water. It's one thing to go up and down the East Coast and mess up, but going across water, I don't want to be stuck nowhere.
Well, they have to go under water, right? So basically I didn't even realize that this has been in the works for years. This concept of building this train, tech billionaire Elon Musk has hinted at being a part of it. And the idea is that it could reduce the travel time between New York and London, which is currently about 6.5 hours on a plane. that they could get you there in 54 minutes.
I mean, look, it's impressive, but there's a reason why people keep saying you can't do it.
Also, I don't want to travel anywhere that fast. Like, that feels like G-force.
I was like, and I don't need to get to London that fast. I mean, I don't go to London anyway, but like, I'm okay getting there in 5 hours.
So it says it would involve constructing a vast tunnel beneath the Atlantic Ocean spanning over 3,000 miles. Do you know how many people would die in this process?
So many. Like, so many. That's what scares me about it. It's like, there's no way to do this effectively without killing a lot of people.
Think of the Panama Canal. How many people, like so many people died building the Panama Canal.
Right.
And no one talks about that, but that's a thing.
And you talking about under the Atlantic Ocean. I mean, that's a technical hurdle, architectural hurdle. There are all these things that have never been, I won't say considered before, but haven't been figured out well before that you got to figure out. And it's not like Elon and his friends are going to be the ones testing it out. They're gonna pay poor people. You know what I mean? They're gonna get poor people and they're gonna be like, hey, would you like to go to London? I got a great job for you. And that's how it goes. And it's not going to be until there's a lot of losses and a lot of mistakes and a lot of death that they figure this out. Now, again, in the age of drones and robots, it won't be all that. But there's a human cost to this. There's always a human cost to this.
Someone just said, imagine if you got stuck. I mean, I just saw folks get stuck in the New York City subway the other day. So I don't know what is the way that would solve things. But also, like, we just don't, there's so much that we don't need and so much that we do need that I don't know why we would do this.
Right. Like, we can invest $20 billion.
And people can never be food hungry again. There would never be food insecurity again.
Absolutely. I mean, we could literally change the quality, raise the standard of living for a significant slice of the world's poor, and certainly all of America's poor with $20 billion. But it's like, yeah, or we could get to London really fast.
We got to connect the colonizers as quickly as possible. Like, that's essentially what it is. Well, I know you have to go, and people were like, I knew Marc would be your first guest. I knew that Marc Lamont Hill would be your first guest. And you guys are right, because this is my very good friend. Is there anything that you would like to tell the people before you go?
Nah, just support you. This is such an important platform. And it's even better now that it's not being policed by lamestream corporate media. You know, it's even doper because you have complete editorial control. People get more access to you. There's just so much to do, y'all. We always say we want to support grassroots stuff. We want to support independent stuff. It's not enough to just to tell. We got to show. That means showing up. That means giving the views, but also investing in this thing, man. Subscribe if on whether it's on YouTube with memberships or whether it's on Patreon with the subscriptions. Do it, and when you do that, you get what you want.
That's my second grade teacher.
Wow! Shout out to Sean Law Bowman, yo.
Ms. Law Bowman.
Ms. Law Bowman. Thank you. That's so dope, yo. Y'all follow her lead.
And tell people about night school.
Y'all watch Night School every night. We're probably moving to 10 o'clock. I've been moving it to 10 lately because of life, but every night on YouTube, you can go to Night School. I cover a bunch of stuff. It's less of a news program, more of like a global classroom. We cover stuff. We dig deep into these issues. That's right. Shop Uncle Bobby's. If you got holiday stuff, we got all kinds of stuff from the legend hoodies like Nipsey to all kinds of stuff. You shop that. And of course, if y'all want to support Night School or MLHTV, just go to our page. You can see all the ways to support us. People were sending me birthday shout outs yesterday and dropping donations to the channel.
Wait, I did not know yesterday was your birthday. I'm a really good friend in a lot of ways, not with birthdays.
I know, that's why I did that. I'm just being petty. So drop. No, I don't care about my birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dr. Marc Lamont Hill. Happy
Not the face.
birthday to you. He is.
And that was the Black Soul Singer faces too. That's the best part. Nah, people.
Happy belated, my friend.
Been dropping. Nah, I literally don't care. I didn't do anything but go home and go to sleep last night.
That's a happy birthday. That's a happy birthday.
That is true. That is true. But like people have been dropping donations in. So if you all want to drop something in for the channel just for the end of the year, that's dope.
Happy birthday donation. Where do they drop it at?
Yo, you know what? Go to Cash App and just do MLHTV. Is that right? Yeah, MLHTV.
MLHTV. Drop Mark a happy birthday at Cash App MLHTV. Do that. All right. Yeah. Do that. Actually, this is the time of the show. Before you go, we might as well do this while Mark is here. Hold on one second. I got to get my tech together. Hold on one second. Hold on. Let me just. I'm still learning how to do this. Hold on. Now y'all know what time it is. It is Mark's birthday, and so we're gonna do a special show your love for Mark. Hey! Show your love. Show your love. Show your love. Show your love. Y'all know what to do. I said, hit him in the Cash App, baby. Hit him in the Cash App, baby. Show him your love. Show him your love.
Yo, that was amazing. Yo, I don't know if it's gonna work, but it was worth it. Well, either way. Yo,
y'all know what it is. Shout out to Marc Lamont Hill for joining us as my first guest. Make sure to check out High School every night? Every night around 10?
10, yep. 10 is
all
good.
right, 10 p.m. here on the YouTubes where all of us lame stream leftovers go to see our careers die. Yeah. Yes. Bye. Bye. Oh man, that was fun. That was a fun time, y'all. That was a fun time. So let's wrap up 60-second headlines and talk about this TikTok ban. Y'all know this TikTok ban is still in the mix. I don't know if y'all know this. Because I think that sometimes there's so much going on that we just like lose sight of how real all of this is. So the TikTok ban is going on. And the ACLU has stepped in for the TikTok ban. The American Civil Liberties Union, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, the EFF, and the Knight First Amendment Institute at Columbia University filed an amicus brief urging the Supreme Court to block the enforcement of a law that would effectively ban people in America from using TikTok as soon as January 19th. Can anyone tell me what is an amicus brief? Can anyone tell me what is an amicus brief? What is an amicus brief? We'll come back to that because I want to hear if you guys know what an amicus brief is. Now, earlier this month, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit rejected TikTok's challenge to the law. Undeterred, TikTok then asked the Supreme Court for a temporary injunction to prevent the app from being banned while the court considers whether to take the case, saying that unless the justices of the Supreme Court intervene, this law banning TikTok will shutter one of America's most popular speech platforms the day before presidential inauguration, because it's supposed to shut down on the 19th. Now, this amicus brief argues that the DC Circuit District Court of Appeals failed to fully address the law's profound implications for the First Amendment rights of 170 million Americans who use TikTok. I thought this was also interesting. The court also perplexingly made an attempt to use this government ban on TikTok as like a vindication of users' First Amendment rights. So what they're saying, of course, many of you all know this, but I will say it again. The TikTok ban, they're saying, is related to this idea that China has control of our information, of Americans' information, and that is dangerous for Americans. But what they're going to do is they're saying that they have to sell it to an American company, so then the American company can have access. Like, at the end of the day, no one should have access to our information outside of the space that we gave it to. And ultimately, if they do have access to our information, then what are they afraid that China is going to do with that? I don't know. But just let's get to the amicus brief answer. But before I do that, actually, I want to let y'all know this very important caveat. Users who have TikTok downloaded on their devices. Y'all listening? Are y'all listening? Users who have TikTok downloaded on their devices would still be able to use the app. But banning TikTok from app stores would prohibit future software updates. Okay? So if ByteDance sells the TikTok, if they manage to sell TikTok before January 19th, it will remain available in the US. Otherwise, we're not really sure what happens. Okay, so I asked you, what is an amicus brief? So Nasra says an amicus brief, or friend of the court brief, is a legal document filed by a person or organization, is not a party to lawsuit, but has an interest in the case. So she's correct. Let's hit it with a smart money. So amicus briefs can serve many purposes, including providing historical context or technical assistance, endorsing a party, addressing policy issues, supplementing or bolstering a party's brief, and mitigating or expanding the effects of a prior court opinion. So basically what an amicus brief is like, let's say you and somebody else is arguing, right? And you like, yo, I'm trying to tell you that this is what it is. And then the other person is like, well, I have to make a judgment on if this is really what it is, because it feels like you're not really being upfront or whatever. And then your man's comes in as the amicus. So your man's name is Amicus. And Amicus comes in and is like, whoa, see, maybe you didn't realize, but what she's saying is really important to this other thing over here that you may not have thought of. So I just wanted to add some additional information to what she's saying, because it feels like if I don't, then you gonna make a judgment that's not really a full context of the whole vision. So, that's why it's a friend of the court. Cause like, it's not even like I'm trying to ride with her. I'm really trying to ride with you so that you don't be out here looking stupid. That's how do you feel? Oh my God, why is this happening? That's an amicus brief. Okay, so that's an amicus brief. So now you know. All right, well, we have another guest coming on the show. Wow. But you know what? We still got some time. So why don't we get into our word of the day? Did you think I forgot it? Did you think that I forgot our word of the day? Because I didn't. The word of the day is salubrious. The word of the day is salubrious. It's an adjective meaning healthy, or it can mean a place that's not run down. Salubrious. Does anybody have a sentence for salubrious? Does anyone have a sentence for salubrious? You got to use it in a sentence. Salubrious means healthy and pleasant, not run down. Healthy and pleasant, not run down. Salubrious. Anybody have a sentence for salubrious? Rich Verma says, I'm not living a salubrious life, even though I'm in therapy. Well, you being healthy for your mind, even if you're not being healthy for your body right now. So I hear you. Shout out to Ricky. Ricky said, my new home is salubrious. Your new home better be pleasant and not run down. Okay. Luce Doque said, that beautiful garden is really salubrious. Really salubrious. Yes. Let's see. Jennifer S says, I have salubrious goals for 2025. I'm not. That's accurate. I'm not sure if that's an accurate way to use it because I have healthy goals. Well, no. Yeah, I have healthy goals for 2025. I correct Sandy. Sorry. I stand corrected. That is an actual way to use the sentence. Let's get one more. I need to be sure to go to bed on time so that I am salubrious. Okay, so this I don't think is accurate because when it's referring to someplace being pleasant or not run down, it's referring to a place, not a person. So just remember that caveat. Okay? Remember that caveat. And also remember that we have to use these words in our lives. So don't just sit up here, y'all, and only use the words right here. We need to use them in our lives. That's why we do this. But you know what else we do? We have guests. Yes.
I wasn't ready. Oh man, I wasn't ready. I was busy looking up salubrious.
I was busy looking up salubrious.
Look at that.
Your skin looks very salubrious.
Well, I am feeling salubrious because I'm in the presence of someone who was so salubrious.
Oh, stop.
Look at that. Using it twice. For the first time in my life, ever, and twice.
That's how you commit it to memory, though. Mm-hmm. That's how you commit it to memory. We have Dr. Connie Wun of AAPI Women. Is it one or one?
It's one.
It's one. Okay. Of AAPI Women Lead here today. Now, I have made it abundantly clear to these people on this show that yes, my shows are always going to be through a Black lens, but there's always going to have a global perspective. And so it is imperative that we involve everybody. Well, who has common sense? And you are definitely, that's you, girl. That's you. So I want to let people know, first of all, who don't know about AAPI Women Lead. Can you please put them on to what y'all do, the work that y'all do, and then also tell them about what you are doing next, because I'm on the newsletter and I was like, oh, they doing things that people need to know about.
Thank you so much.
No doubt.
Thank you. So thanks for having me on your amazing salubrious show.
Thank you. I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
You don't even need to try. The rest of the world needs to catch up. Here we are, right? Catching up. So thank you. And then to tell you all a little bit about AAPI Women Lead, we're an organization that works to end gender violence against Asian, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, women, girls, non-binary communities in solidarity with Black, Indigenous, and other communities of color. And we're one of the only organizations that work to end violence through a holistic approach. And what I mean by holistic approach is we host and hold storytelling, research, data analysis, all from the community's perspective. It's community-centered, it's survivor-driven, right? So all of our research and all of our stories are from our survivors, through our survivors' lens. And that helps to reclaim and also amplify the power of survivors, right? And as our survivors tell their stories for the whole world, because most people don't know anything around ANHPI communities, right? we also want to make sure that they're taken care of. So we fund our researchers, our storytellers, right? Livable wages. And then we also provide healing wellness workshops throughout the year. So every year we give about 30-something trainings around acupuncture, acupressure, community defense, Tai Chi, intuitive healing. So we reclaim our healing and wellness practices. And then we also host a lot of mutual aid projects. We partner with a lot of organizations across the US and its territories for the purposes of, again, ending violence and in solidarity with our communities. And just like last week, we worked with Fabletics. Fabletics donated about 1,500 articles of clothing and shoes for children. So we went here in the Bay Area where we're headquartered. We went to 6 different cities and distributed all these clothes to different organizations, actually people on the street. We were like, do you need clothes? Just to make sure. Exactly. So that's the work that AAPI Women Lead does. And again, we do this work largely because people don't know what's going on with us. They actually don't think that we're survivors of any sort. But then I also want to say, how do you
speak to that? Because I really feel like that's a real thing that a lot of people don't know or don't care. But I think there's been a real silencing of Asian women as survivors. It's almost as if this idea that Asian women are, we always talk about this idea that Asian women are docile, but then you see things like the comfort women in Japan, you learn about, think about, we were talking about on my podcast, which hasn't come out yet, but about Saigon, and during the Vietnam War, how much violence was taking place there. So can you just speak to more about also the sex trafficking, the way that there's a unique experience that's happening in Asia around this, which is what calls for the necessity for AAPI Women Lead.
So I would say that it's a part of our history, both over, in our families' homelands here and here in the United States. So just to be clear, for Asian women here in the United States, it's up to about 60% of our women, girls have experienced some form of gender violence. And then when you talk about our Pacific Islander women and girls and non-binary communities, which is distinctly different from Asians, our Pacific Islanders also have a high rate, up to 60 to 70% of experiences with gender violence. That's here in the United States and in the territories, right? But you also don't account for how we experienced the violence through US war, US imperialism, right? So you were talking about comfort women, I can talk about, what happened during the Vietnam War and how many of our women were assaulted, killed, right? Comfort women in South Korea, thank you. And across Cambodia, Laos, right? So we're being we are being violated and experience violence in our homelands through U.S. imperialism and patriarchy, right? And then we come here because we're not indigenous to this land, and I, honor that we are, guests here in this land, and we experience gender violence here. And for some strange reason, here in someone else's, I was going to call it your country, but in your country,
it ain't mine.
You know what I mean? It's like people assume that people who look like me and Pacific Islanders are unscathed and don't experience any form of violence. And a part of me wants to be like, how'd you think we got here?
That part.
Why would we want to just be here? And then, you know what I'm saying? And enter a war against Black people, a war against Indigenous people. We already went through war.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think what needs to be highlighted and what AAPI Women Lead does is highlight the violence that we've experienced. And we don't do it in a way where it's us against anybody. We're saying actually it's in relationship to Black women, Black trans peoples. It's in relationship to Indigenous women, Indigenous peoples, right? Actually, the US has a history of assaulting all of our populations across the globe. So we're entering that violence chat and saying, yo,
let's chat.
They do this to us too. And it's a reminder to our communities, they've done it to you too. And they continue to do it also. So we have to figure out a way to be in conversation with each other and also to strategize on how we can work in solidarity and in community with each other across these different geographic, racial, and ethnic assault lines.
Can you tell us about the project that you guys are working on that you just got into a new phase of the real the real lab? Was it the real?
Oh, I like the real lab. we called it the Institute, but don't worry. We're fine.
The real Institute is fly.
Not as. It's not. So we may need to credit you for a rebrand. Hold on. The real lab. I love it. So I what we are working on is the real lab / institute, which is an acronym for Research Education for Advocacy and Liberation.
Research, education for advocacy and liberation. And liberation. Ooh, we love that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So we are fundraising $1 million a year up to 2030 to launch the only research and education storytelling lab that works to end violence against that works to end violence against our communities. And in this sense, we at the Real Institute, one of the things that we do is partner with community organizations across the US and its territories. In the past 2 years, we partnered with 6 different organizations in Wisconsin, American Samoa, Hawaii, Massachusetts, California, right? And all of these researchers or storytellers were trained by our academic researchers, our community experts, to learn how to storytell, to learn how to collect data, to analyze data, right? And it became the first study of its kind that is community-driven and survivor-centered to tell the accurate stories about what our communities are experiencing. So we had Hmong women, Samoan women, we had Native Hawaiian women, right? All of these folks were saying, actually, the climate crisis is gender violence. They were saying colonization is gender violence, right? They were saying all of these things lead to gender violence in our communities. So the Real Institute wants to create, and if people help to fund us, we're going to create more cohorts of this kind so that we can reach the South, so that we can reach Guam, so that we can reach, other Pacific Islander territories, so that we can reach, the Pacific Northwest. So the Real Institute helps us to host these cohorts of storytellers that are from the community, most of whom have not had any experience doing traditional research, right? So that's what we do. The Real Institute also collects first-person surveys, narratives. We just got some data and a story around Korean adoptees.
Yeah.
And the violence that they have experienced, right? So that's stories that we want to promote and share as a part of the educational trainings. And then, of course, we want to be able to host trainings, not just do the research, but host trainings around our histories and around the data that we've collected, right? So that everybody knows what's really going on, especially with this new administration. They're not going to care. So we're taking a grassroots approach to everybody invest in us, invest in our stories so that we can tell the truth about what this country has done to us.
This is going to be, it's not like rhetorical, but it's just I feel like we always have to just repeat this. Why is it so important that our stories get told?
So there's a couple of thoughts that I have, and I'm going to keep it real honest with you, right? Oh, I'm sorry. So one of the reasons I think this is important is that AAPI Women Lead just came on the heels of, did you disappear? Because I'm like, is it just me on here right
now? Yeah, it's just you right now. You was locking in, and so I said, let me give it to her.
Well, there's a couple of things. One is that AAPI Women Lead, as an example of what other women of color, Black, Indigenous communities of color experience. We just came on the heels of some death threats. And since our inception, we've experienced sexual assault threats, in my DMs, hate mail, and then postal mail, right? And if we don't tell our stories, we're going to become continuous victims and survivors of violence without anyone being able to resource us, or no one, showing up to resource us. In fact, I think because people don't know our stories, we become more vulnerable to violence. That's number one. Number two is that I think it's very important for us to tell our stories so that we can identify the commonalities, and then we can also identify ways we can be accountable to each other, right? So the first reason, I'll say it again, the reason why we need to tell our stories is so that we are not alone, alienated, and made vulnerable to violence. Right? Because I'm tired of the death threats. I'm tired of the sexual harassment. I'm tired of people sliding into our DMs, emailing me, right? And even showing up at this show, perhaps, threatening us, right? After this. I'm tired of us being alone in that. And so we need to tell our stories so that people know we're not alone. And then the second thing is that I think we need to be resourced in our stories. And then I want us to be able to tell our stories so that we actually are able to work together to identify the commonalities, and then to also identify ways we can be accountable to each other. And the third reason we need to tell the stories, which is related to the first reason, is because we need to tell the truth. And we need the truth to be heard. Our facts and our stories have to be told so that those who are, the powers that be, including patriarchy, racism, anti-Blackness, white supremacy, xenophobia, misogyny, all these structures are exposed for who and what they are, and that people stop buying into these structures. As long as we can tell our stories and affirm and be powerful in our stories, it's a part of the takedown. It's a part of the takedown because we're not going to be invisible. We're not hiding ourselves. And we're going to tell you who are the perpetrators that we're here, and we're not cowering, and we're fighting back. And a whole new world is coming based on our stories. So I think those are the few reasons.
Let me just think about if I have something, and then delivering an entire monologue, a soliloquy of concise necessity. And that to me is what you just named that's like a copy and paste for all of us, right? That's why this human experience, when you see the effort to silence people, you understand that there must be something very powerful here in our stories if they're making it so a part of their. And when I say they, at this point, I decided that there's like humans, and then there's just like alien forces that are, because I don't understand. I'm like, y'all are so dedicated to hurting people that you must not be people. That's really what I decided. So I'm very close to being part of the lizard people community, because I'm just like, who are y'all?
Because I want to say one other thing just real quickly, and I think this is important, which is that, and I'll say this to your audience, right? Because I know that your focus is on Black liberation, and I think that's yes, absolutely.
My focus is on liberation.
Okay, that's fine. I'm saying I'm here for that.
That's my experience.
No. And I'm okay with that. I'm saying as a Vietnamese woman, I'm also here for Black liberation.
We should be here for everybody liberation.
Right. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I also recognize the ways that people don't understand that not only are our struggles, connected, but that we are responsible for each other. Right. That was my point. My point is that we are responsible for each other. So I'm glad that you are here for my liberation, for Palestinian liberation, for all oppressed peoples. But I'm saying that I'm also here for your liberation, Black liberation, women's liberation, queer people's liberation, trans liberation, right? And that's the commitment we actually have to each other if we want to survive this place, which also means we don't get to weaponize things, right? I'm watching Asian people do things that I'm like, yo, that's racist, folks. You know what I mean? And you don't get to do that. You can't do that. You have an obligation as well to Black people, Indigenous people, as much as I say I have an obligation, right? So I say this to you on your show because I know how responsible you are. I also know how much what you've been going through. I know your commitments. I see you in your bravery. I see you in your courage, right? And I want to say that I honor you and I respect you so much for this,
Thank you.
It is not easy, you know,
No.
and everybody needs to be able to show up in the ways that you have, in ways that I believe that I am committed to doing. And anybody who weaponizes our struggles against each other can kick rocks.
That's it. That's it. Where can people find AAPI Women Lead, and people wanted to, well, you can follow your C1 on Instagram, right?
Yes, ma'am. SEEWUN.
Yes, ma'am. You're going to make me put on my glasses.
I did mine.
I feel like,
Yes.
yes, ma'am. So you can follow Dr. Connie on IG at C1.
Mhm.
And where can they get more information about the Real Institute, about AAPI Women Lead, etc.?
So they can also go to our IG at AAPI Women Lead and then join our newsletter. They can also go to our website, which is aapiwl.org. But only go to that site if you're there to help one another, though. Sorry, I'm just saying, because we've gotten so much hate mail. And
What is the hate mail? What are they hating? Like, I don't even understand what they hate. What are they hating?
It's misogyny, right? They're misogynist. There's death threats. There's sexual harassment threats. There's sexual violence
What are
threats.
they mad at y'all for doing?
Oh.
Because
Wow.
this is the thing to me at this point. I'm like, how do you have the time to come bother us for talking about our experiences? Because I know you got some people coming at you. Like, where's the time?
Yeah.
They're mad that you're talking about the ways in which America and the imperialist praxis has harmed you. Like, that's what they're mad about?
No, there's a couple things. Well, can I do a quick thing on AAPI Women, WENLEAD?
Oh, yes. Sorry.
No apologies. They're mad that we're actually telling our stories around gender violence. That's one. The other one that's been really hard, they've been mad that our work in solidarity with Black communities and Indigenous communities. So white supremacists have come for us. Conservative Asian men have come for us. Black male reactionaries have come for us.
Reactionaries? What's a reactionaries?
Is that the same as salubrious? No, it's not.
Because reactionaries make me feel like I need to put this on.
No, I wouldn't even do that.
Not the taps?
No, I wouldn't even do that. And I would be humble enough to even not even, I'm like, that's not a conversation. But what I would say is that the folks who come for us will say things like, will not see the ways that we're trying to both be accountable, right? And be in relationship with Black people, because we've always been, right? And so I say the reactionaries refuse that existence, right? That's number one. And then number two, they want to weaponize racism in ways where they're just like, they come for us in a way where they, you know, some people will say your community is anti-Black and so you deserve to get raped.
I don't know. I actually, the use of rape casually was something that I first started seeing in terms of language with Zios. Like, I've had people tell me that before, but just like, it's become now like a thing that I think folks are just really casual about. And you know, we look in other nations, we look in the Congo, we look in Sudan, and we're hearing stories about rape being used as a weapon of war.
Yes.
Rape being used as an act of violence. And so we know that, like, when people say things like this, it's not casual. It's not like, oh, you know, I hope you get slapped in the face. Like, no, this is something that you are very clearly asserting as violence, and violence in the same way as taking your life. If not worse. I think I think they actually mean it in a worse way. Like, wanting someone to be raped is worse than wanting someone to die. Well,
I'd have to say we've gotten both. right? So right. I hate that you said same, right? So that's why I'm saying it's reactionary, because you're not here for liberation. You're here for yourself. You're here to get your knocks off. You're not here to free anybody. You know what I mean? You're here to use what is such an important movement and politic and weaponize it for your own gratification. Just say that. Say that. Say that it's about you and your twisted ways and your pathologies, right? Say it's for yourself. Don't say it's on behalf of any liberation. And that's why I say it's reactionary, because you're not doing it for liberation.
No.
You know? And to say that you're threatening rape, death, violence against people who are already vulnerable, you're a punk. Just own that you're a punk. And you're coming after people who don't have the abilities to structurally fight back. Instead of like thinking through perhaps like where this rage is coming from, how to hold people accountable, you want to further the violence? Nah, dude. You might as well be the man, and not even the man. You might as well just be a white man. Be friends with Donald Trump. Just say that. Just say, me and Donald, we want to kick it. Me and him are besties. Don't front like you're doing anything that's liberatory. And clearly I'm pissed because I'm like...
Well, let me tell you, the comedian in me has to point out that you have Dr. Connie voice and you have the Bay voice. And Dr. Connie will speak to us and say, so I want us to discuss the ways in which we are asserting ourselves and our voices. I want us to point out the necessity for us to really illuminate our experiences. And then the Bay Area, Connie Wun is like, yo, for real? Like, for real? Just go hang with your mans. Like, why are we even doing this? You're wasting everybody's time. Like, good to see you. Good to see you. This is, I'm not even playing, y'all, you're playing in our faces, and I don't like it. I don't like it. And I love that. I love that duality. I'll rob a bank with you any day.
Oh my God, I love that. That's like the best compliment.
Any day.
And I'm humbled. I am very humbled for you to give that compliment, because I know you wouldn't do that with everybody.
That is correct. That is correct. Dr. Connie, thank you so much for joining us. The people here feel so enriched and informed, and I really think that it's really important that people like you continue to be platformed, because also, you know, I don't think people really understand that there are folks like yourself who are standing in the gap, who are saying we have to be responsible. It's just, it's not, nothing is a plain picture, y'all. So shout out to Dr. Connie Wun. You see right here, AAPI Women Lead, as well as AAPIWL.org. And look out for our Small Doses episode coming soon. Mwah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, y'all. Question for Amanda. Why do you pretend to be FBA when neither of your parents are American? You can't just study someone's history, adopt it, and claim it as your own. I think this is hilarious when people say things like this, because I literally am the descendant of chattel slavery in the United States. I literally had a genealogist go through and do all the work. Shout out to Kimberly Renee. I'm actually, unfortunately, the descendant of Robert E. Lee, possibly. But since you, Jafia 03, are so confident, you owe my ancestors an apology. You owe my ancestors an apology. You owe my great-great-great-grandmother, whose slave owner's name is on the birth certificate for her and 9 other of his slaves that year, their children. You owe her an apology. You owe everybody in here an apology for coming in here with this nonsense. You owe yourself an apology for creating division based on the same mandates as the oppressor you claim to be wanting liberation from. Jafia, get on out of here. A mess. A mess. And let me tell you, do not tell me what to do. Do not tell me what to do. I know why I do what I do. I know why I say what I say. I know why I give certain things attention. So please understand that I do not need you to produce me. I don't need any of you all to produce me. I am really, really, really skilled at what I'm doing. Okay. All right. That was incredible. Shout out to Dr. Connie Wun. Remember, you see it right there, AAPI Women Lead, or AAPIWL.org. So that's how you can check in on that. Well, I was going to unveil a new segment today, but I'm going to save it for Monday. We really, because I mean, sometimes it's just like there's just too much information for people to like cram into their heads. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely feel like next week is better. And we're going to unveil the For the Record segment on Monday, where I will talk about the music that I'm listening to and that I'm liking. So you got to stick around for that. And it is time for us to have one of these moments, which actually is great for what just took place. So this has been my first week on this show, and it's been so incredible to just so quickly be able to pivot and have like folks there. But I have to tell you, I'm always shocked at the vitriol that exists. And we discussed this with Dr. Connie and Mark. And so it kind of was a theme of this. Okay, they said the sound is bad. The sound is bad. Why is the sound bad, y'all? The sound is bad? Let me check and see. So the comedy is y'all being like, this, that, and the third, this, that, and the third. And then I have to like react to what y'all are saying. Okay. I'm just going to do this because the people are very much loud. So I'm just going to do this, y'all. I am always shocked and amazed at the commitment that I see my sisters have to tearing down each other. And I have been accused of this in the past as somebody who, considered themselves to be doing like pop culture commentary. And once upon a time, pop culture commentary was basically just talking about like things that are happening in the news and pop culture things that are happening in the news. And I honestly felt like there was something very genuine about that, something that was very necessary about that, because pop culture, particularly Black popular culture, has a different level of impact to it. So I definitely saw that as a necessary aspect of our culture. That being said, I don't know when it turned into being pop culture and just mean as hell. I don't know when that happened, but it definitely is something that is incredibly it seems to be representative of where we are just as a people, as folks in the United States, that we're so willing to just decry, defame, denigrate others. And we do it, we see it in all areas, right? Like we don't just see it in pop culture, we see it in people in doing sports. We see it in people doing politics. Politics is different. But for me, I've had to say, I don't want to be that. Like, that's why it bothers me when people are trying to make out what I said about Nene as like me shading Nene, when really what I was saying was like, you don't have to lie, sis. Like, if you made that choice, make that choice. Like, you can love yourself in your choices, and we shouldn't have nothing to say about it. And the only reason that you would be unwilling to speak on that is probably because you just don't want people to talk about it. But we have set up this framework where people feel like they got to lie about things that are literally like plain as day, because they just don't want to have to hear about it. And as somebody who is constantly attacked for things that I'm being completely honest about, I'm just disgusted on a regular basis, particularly when I see my sisters, Black women, so willing to cause harm to each other, particularly for the sake of capitalist gain. And I challenge us, everybody, not just Black women, but I challenge us to make better decisions about what we're putting out there. Like I was telling Mark, I literally saw someone today say, like, Amanda Seales, showbiz doesn't want you. Like, you sat there and said, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to type this, and then I'm going to sit on a camera, and I'm just going to talk mess about this person who's never harmed me. I'm using myself as the example, but they do this about all people, all types of people. They do this all the time. This person who is not harming anybody and who 9 times out of 10 is being misquoted. Because somebody is watching this and is like, well, what about when you tried to ruin that Black doctor's life? That never happened. I didn't lie about any of that. I will stand firm and forever on my decision to speak publicly about what people were telling me privately. So I think it's just at this point, the best thing we can do is ask ourselves, are we in spaces teaching or learning? And for me, if I'm not doing either of those things, then I am settling my nervous system. Because I'm not teaching or learning when I'm watching Game of Thrones, but I'm settling my nervous system. So I hope this show is settling your nervous system. And, I hope that you have had a good time today. And I had a great time. People kept asking me, are you going to have guests? Are you going to have guests? Yes. 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 We gonna have guests. I have such a good time on this show with y'all. Hit me in the Cash App, baby. Hit me in the Cash App, baby. All right, y'all. I want to remind you before I go that I have 2 Patreon-only stories that I will be talking about. So make sure, if you want to hear my thoughts on these mystery drones and on Donald Trump bringing Herschel Walker to the Bahamas as the ambassador, then make sure that you find yourself at patreon.com/AmandaSeals and join the SEAL Squad. Okay, make sure you join the SEAL Squad. Also, I want to let you know that starting next week, this will be available via podcast. And I'm really proud of myself for being able to figure out how to do that. So shout out to everybody out there, because I'm really committed to making this a thing. And I showed myself this week. More importantly, you all showed me this week that this is a thing. So for everybody who is here and wrapping up. Remember, please hit us with a replay. We got it. We love a replay. Please hit us with a replay. Please make sure to leave a comment in the comments because you can't do it while we're live, but after. Please show a super for your support. And I want to shout out everybody who has given us a super today. Shout out to Kimberly, Kimberly Parkhurst, Kimberly Holmes. Shout out to Ture Williams, Monique C, Carol, Julie Savera, Iman Khalil, my second grade teacher, Ms. Jean-La Bowman, Kiana Parm. Hey, Kiana! Heather Galloway, also Farah Slay. That's a perfect name for the holiday season. Oh, that's a Euro. Okay, international. Chakra Q Guru, Yasmin Abdullah, Victor, and Tanya Pierre. Thank you all for giving to the show. Remember, this is a completely community-funded show. 100% community funded. I do not have sponsors. I do not have anybody except y'all supporting this show at present. So make sure that you drop it in the Cash App if you have it. Drop it right here as a super sticker. And if you don't got it, at least share it with somebody who you think might. Also, oh, thank you, Carmen. Happy winter holidays. This is a perfect segue to let you know that I will be here next week. I will be here Monday, Tuesday, and on Christmas. So if you are spending your Christmas by yourself or you're spending your Christmas with people you don't like, you have somewhere to be at 10 a.m. Eastern on Christmas Day. I'm trying to find somebody who don't celebrate Christmas that can come on and be my guest. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. Y'all, shout out to the SEAL Squad. My SEAL Squad fam are the greatest, and everybody enjoy the rest of your week. Please remember, we are each other's business. When we look out for each other, we lift each other up. Bye.
Amanda.